small red switcher in the yard. There was also Thomas was staying for the summer as well to help out with the day out with Thomas. There was also a 060 Porter tank engine staying for the summer as well for the steam weekends. The engine house had just got recently rebuilt. There will be a video of that coming out really soon, actually. Anyway, back to the episode. Anyway, in the back row were 3 astonishing engines. Canadian National 260 number 89, Great Western 210 deck pod number 90, and then Norfolk and Western 480 number 475. And then there was also a rusty 040 outside called the Reading Camelback. But that's what this video is about. The switcher rolled out of the engine shed that morning to go and switch stuff out for the bigger engines later on. For right now, the workshop seemed to be empty, which surprised all the other engines because none of the engines needed works on them. Wow, said the switcher, I'm very surprised. Usually the workshops aren't that empty. Carry on to the yard. The switcher carried on to the yard. The route was very simple. The engine works were right at the beginning of the route. The station was almost right next to the engine shed. It was only like a mile or so down the track. This was the Mattsville station. This is where everyone coupled up to their trains. There was no loop to the front of the train. The manager of the Mattsville Railroad was planning to make a run-along loop so that the switcher can get their trains and they can loop around to the front. Because the switcher wanted to get their car so they can loop around to the front of those trains. Because if that didn't work, they'd be stuck pushing the trains down the track, and they didn't want that at all. At this point, the switcher didn't like to go more than 13 miles an hour, which is kind of stupid if you kind of see it. But from time to time, if he's running late, he would go about 20. Then came the bad part. Well, not the bad part. Then they would have been coming over a crossover section where the old Reading Camelback sits. For short, her real name was called Rachel, but a lot of people called her 11877. A lot of times they would just whoosh by her like she wasn't even there. And really, everyone thought that she would just be sitting in the siding for every day. Every day she'd be sitting there rusting, and nothing was happening to her. She really didn't like sitting in the heat and the winter and the rain and you name it. Until one day, the switcher got a call from the manager. This is switcher number 1501. We have a big job for you. Yes, this is 1501. What do you need? This is a job for Camleback number 1187. What about her? She's apparently gonna have to go in the workshop. What for? To be scrapped? Nope. Apparently she wants to get apparently the people of the Mattsville Railroad have spoken, and we have made an agreement to restore the little engine and put her back in operating condition. Okay, we'll go over to this Camelback thing, and we'll collect her right away. Oh, and make sure she's asleep, because we do want to surprise her. okay? Roger that. We'll make sure she's asleep. Alert. The 1501 didn't really like to go over to the Camelback because it was full of iron and scrap and all this. Which unfortunately we didn't really have at the time, but it was a little siding they made. It wasn't full of grass or rust or anything. The Camelback was just a little lump of iron, so anyway, the Camelback was just a little heap of iron and steel, which they were gonna recycle in 2019, but they saved it from a heap of from a mess. The 1501 wasn't a she had been rescued from scrap in 2019 by the Mattsville Railroad. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention a little history on her. Ori number 1501 was built by Baldwin in 1961. It was used to drag iron around the HG Railroad until being sent to scrapyard in 2018. By 2019, the Mattsville Railroad was looking for a little switcher to be hauling some freight cars around. Luckily, they saved the little girl from scrap, and she's now running. Even though we call her she, it's a he, so I don't know how to say that. But, he's now running today, and we have saved her from a heap of rubbish. Anyway, of course, we're not going to go into history about every single engine, that'd just take way too long. But, yeah, Switcher's just a little happy piece. Anyway, the Switcher, of course, actually, was going to collect Reading Camelback number 1187 to bring it back to the workshop. Okay. Hey, little Camelback, guess what?
Yes. What do you want?
Why you have that attitude? I'm gonna get you fixed up in the Mattsville shops. I'm gonna get you fixed up in the Mattsville shops. Yeah, apparently the manager wants you to be fixed up and running on the Mattsville Railroad.
What?
I know, right? No, I'm not kidding you. They actually want you running on the Mattsville Railroad. No, they really want you to be operating on this railroad, so apparently they're gonna restore you to your former glory.
Nice to hear.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take you to the shops and you're gonna be restored to your former glory. Isn't that cool? I mean, I've heard of some camelbacks have been scrapped, but,
Yeah, it is.
so, you're gonna be the only sole runner for the years to come. So, yeah. I can't believe it either. A Reading camelback, just like your type, is being restored to its former glory. Isn't that cool? Well, I think I'm gonna tow you to the shops, and then we're gonna cut to a few months' time, and then we'll see you running for the first time in almost half a century, little Camelback. Let's go. The Camelback rolled slowly out of the workshop. All the engines gasped. Oh my gosh, that's so cool! The Camelback looked shiny and new.
Feels a lot better than I thought it would be.
How do you feel, Camelback?
Yeah, a lot more better. A lot more better. No, a lot.
Then Thomas suddenly had an idea bubbled in Thomas's boiler. You know what I think? I think there should be a triple header for the 4 Strasbourg engines. 1187, Strasbourg 90, 475, and 89 take a quadruple header up the Mansfield Railroad and back.
But we speak the Matthew first.
Fair point. But you know what? I think you should go pull a train riding Camelback. It's been so long since you moved your wheels, right?
Yeah, it has.
So with that day on, the small little riding Camelback went from rusting away to a small piece of history. The end.